Welcome back to another video. In this video we will have a look at how to install and use Comfy UI. Comfy UI is a graphical user interface for building and running AI image generation workflows. It's a modular node-based system that allows users to visually connect components like model loaders, samplers, prompts, upscalers, enabling detailed control over every stage of the image generation process. The simplest way to install Comfy UI is to use Pinokio. Pinokio is known to be a one-click installer, and it will install Comfy UI and all of its dependencies for you. You first install Pinokio, which I've already done. It's just a case of visiting the website, the Pinokio website, and downloading and installing it, almost as if you're installing another standard Windows-based application like Adobe Reader. But I do have a separate video of installing Pinokio. So once you install Pinokio, which is a case of next, install, and it's done. But then within Pinokio is where we install Comfy UI, which we will be having a look at. Now the key features of Comfy UI is it's a node-based workflow. It's drag and drop system where you connect nodes representing actions. It's very, very customizable. So you can tweak every part of the image generation pipeline, like prompt, strength, resolution, samplers, etc. It has support for advanced workflows, so including things like ControlNet, LoRa's, in-painting, out-painting, and even video generation with add-ons. And it has large plugin ecosystem, so new nodes and capabilities are added regularly by the community. It's ideal for advanced users, technical artists, developers who want fine-grained control, or even people experimenting with custom models, fine-tuning, and AI pipeline automation. Now when you've installed it, there is a get started with a template menu, so you can see all of the pre-built workflows. The templates are the workflows you can choose from if you don't want to create one from scratch. And here we can see the basic menus. So all of these are just basic generations, but we'll go through these. So these are some basic ones. But then there's the Flux workflows if you wanted to use the Flux model. And in here you can see Flux Dev, Fluxional, in-paint, out-paint, etc. And in the image menu shows you all of the workflows created to generate images. So we can see HiDream in here as well, which is quite a relatively new model. And you've got 3 versions of HiDream you can use. But we've still got the standard SD 3.5 and the SDXL models as well. And next is ControlNet. So ControlNet is used in AI image generation, especially with stable diffusion, to give precise control of the structure or layout of the output image, by providing extra guidance like pose, depth map, sketch, segmentation map, so on. So ControlNet helps you tell the AI how to draw, not just what to draw. Next is upscaling. So this is the process of increasing the resolution of an image, so making it larger and more detailed without losing any quality, so ideally improving it. Next is video generation. So you can generate videos using the most popular one, WAN 2.1, which is supposed to be the best one out there. But then there's HoneyWAN video, which is another very popular one as well. So you've got quite a few to choose from here. Area composition, as it says, control images composition with areas, reverse area composition workflow, create consistent subject placement. And then you can use 3D models. So you can create an image, you can create a 3D image. So you can have an image of a person or any other object, and you have an image of them from every angle, just like the image, just like it shows you in the first image. And then there's some audio generation as well you can do in Comfy UI. So you can either create workflows from scratch, which consist of all of these different types of nodes, which have to be connected together, or you can use a template from here, browse templates, and change them if required. So if I click on the first template on the top left, the image generation template, it's a very basic workflow, but it does what it says, creates images, generates images. Now that I have opened up a workflow, you may need to download models. It's telling me to download this particular checkpoint, 1.5 pruned checkpoint, which is a stable diffusion 1.5 base model. But I have already downloaded a bunch of checkpoints, which are here actually in my checkpoints folder. So I'm in comfy.git folder. So Pinokio API comfy.git. If I go to app and then I go to models, in here is where you place everything. So if you have a particular VAE, text encoders, LoRa's, you put them in here. I'll explain a little bit more of each of these as well. ControlNet, you put ControlNet in here. And then I've got checkpoints. So I downloaded a load of checkpoint models and just threw them in here. So you can see them in here. Actually, if I minimize this and I cross this off, you can see them in here now. Because I put them in those folders, we can see them in here now. However, if it's your first time of installing this, I think it comes pre-installed with one checkpoint, but you can download more. So you can go to the manager, the download manager, or the model manager. It's called model manager. And by the way, you should always update all custom nodes, and then restart Comfy UI after updating the nodes, and install missing custom nodes as well, which is optional. Well, I say optional if you have missing custom nodes in your workflow. So if your workflow is using nodes you don't have, nodes are these square boxes, by the way, these rectangle square boxes like save image, VAE, decode, K-sampler, clip, load checkpoints. But you could have other nodes. Maybe you've downloaded a workflow from Civit AI or GitHub or somewhere, and they have some custom nodes. So if your workflow is using nodes you don't have that do things like the upscaler node to upscale images, you can select the install missing custom nodes. And you can occasionally update the Comfy UI core as well. And the restart button is here, by the way. But we want to go to Model Manager. Now in here we can download many checkpoints, and it tells you the size of each checkpoint as well. Some are quite large. So look at this one, it's 9.22 gig in size. It also tells you the type, it's a checkpoint. So the checkpoint contains the full AI model. You can filter from here. So install, not installed, or in workflow. You've got type as well. So the type is the checkpoint. But we've got all these other types as well here. For example, VAE. And VAE handles image encoding and decoding between pixel space and latent space. It makes the final image more detailed and less blurry. So you may want to pick a specific VAE. So I've got a couple installed here. There's upscale as well. So upscale will upscale the image. It will enlarge the image without losing any quality. So it will improve the overall detail of the image. It will make it more sharper. So you've got many options here as well. And obviously I'm only scratching the surface. There's so much to Comfy UI and all of the elements that come with it. There's more models, there's more checkpoints, LoRa's. By the way, a LoRa over here, these are small tuning add-ons that modifies a checkpoint behavior. So it's used to add specific style, characters, or a look without retaining the whole model. So you may have, for example, in Civit AI, checkpoints for if you are creating characters, real humans. You may have checkpoints for real skin, realism, so they look very real. Because some of the checkpoints struggle with realism, so those LoRa's will give you that extra help. So you've got all these options you can choose from, and then you've got base as well. Base, by the way, is a base model. So different models are trained on different data and produce different styles. And for example, LoRa's and VAEs are often designed for a specific base model. So sometimes you need to choose the correct base model to ensure compatibility. So for example, if you are using a LoRa made for SD 1.5 on SDXL, the result will be broken or weird looking because they're not compatible. But anyway, so you can search for things over here as well. And earlier we had a checkpoint. It was asking us to download. So if we go to checkpoint, and here is the one it was asking us to download, 1.5 pruned, which is a Stable Diffusion 1.5 base model. And it tells you the file size as well, but I'm not using 1.5. I've got quite a few of these SDXL based models, which are the more recent models. So I'm not bothered about that one. And then we can go to Civit AI. I'll show you Civit AI as well. So now this is Civit AI. You can download models from here. So I've clicked on models, and you can see what they are as well. It tells you on the top left it's a checkpoint. These are all checkpoints, but you can filter from the top right here. So I've got checkpoint checked and all checkpoints. This is the base model, and Flux 1 has been selected as the base model here. This means it will only show models that have explicitly declared Flux 1 as their base. To be honest, I think you should really treat this as a narrowing tool. So when you are narrowing down on models and not have to rely on it, Probably better to deselect this and sort by most downloaded or newest models to explore active models. So that's my take on it. You may change that to something else. You may need an upscaler or a control net or a complete workflow. So instead of Flux, we can change this to SDXL. And you can see all the checkpoints for SDXL in here. So if we go to one of them, let me go to this one, Into Realism. It tells you the reviews, positive. The base model is SDXL 1.0 and you can download it from here. You can also see we are downloading version 3.1 and these are the previous versions. Here's another one, Cyber Realistic XL Catalyst. Again, it's got positive reviews. It's a trained model and you can download it from here again. There's some more information about it down here. So this is Civit AI. So if we go back to Comfy UI, we can change the model in here. Let's go with Flux Chanel. And let's leave the default text prompt, beautiful scenery, nature, glass bottle, landscape, purple gallery bottle. That's the positive one and this is the negative one. If you don't want to see things, you can specify it in here. So text, watermark, blurry image, things like that. So blurry, cartoon. So these are known as nodes. These are the connection points. Yellow connects to yellow, etc. You can move these around, by the way. I won't go into too much detail about all these. This is the file size. Maybe change that to 1024. So this is the K sampler which creates the actual node. This is the seed. You can randomize the seed or you can keep it fixed. So you can randomize the seed by keeping it random, which will give you a completely different output. But if you keep the seed the same, as well as the same text prompt, it will give you the same output. The number of steps used in the denoising process. So I think the more steps you give it, the more detailed it becomes. And you've got a few of the settings in here as well. CFG is for how strongly you want to follow the prompt. And the scheduler helps with the denoising process. Then you've got VAE and then you've got save image, so you can save the image. Let's run this anyway. It looks like I have an issue with my checkpoint, so I'm going to change it to another one. I think the issue is the Flux Chanel checkpoint is not in the correct folder. It should be in the checkpoint folder, but to save time, I'm just going to use another checkpoint. I accidentally put some of them in the UNet folder, so it picks it up in Comfy UI, but they should be in the checkpoint folder. So I specified this checkpoint realistic stock, and I clicked on run to run the workflow. But by the way, this is the positive text prompt, beautiful scenery, nature, glass bottle, landscape, purple gallery bottle. So this is what it will be trying to create an image of. This is the negative prompt, anything you don't want to see, text, watermark. I've put in blurry and cartoon in there. This is the K sampler, so this is the seed. If you want something very similar, you keep the seed fixed. By the minute the seed is randomized, this is the steps, the number of steps used in denoising process. So it's the number of refinement steps. Higher equals more details, but it is slower. The CFG is how strongly to follow the prompt. 7 to 12 is common. And there's a scheduler as well, which helps control the denoising progress. And then there's the VAE, which converts the image into pixel space images. So the VAE handles image encoding and decoding between pixel spaces and latent space, and then save image to save image. The first time it does it, it takes a lot longer whilst it's downloading the checkpoint, but after that, assuming you are using the same checkpoint, generating other images is a lot quicker. And we can see in green which node is currently processing the image, and there we go, we can see the image is generated. If we right click it, we can open image, copy image, save image. Let's open the image. And that's our image. So that's our image generated of the text prompt. We could have done something else. Let's go beautiful house or beautiful scenery house. See what that produces. Now it's a lot quicker because it's done it the first time round. The rest will be quicker. And it's done the house. Let's have a look at the house. That looks really nice. Let's do sports car. By the way, this is the utmost basic workflow. You could add upscalers to make the quality much better, or you can use other checkpoints and see what the results is that they produce. Some more recent checkpoints. better checkpoints. That sports car looks cool. Let's do something spontaneous with a cat driving it. And let's make sure the cat is red. Well, the cat's not driving it, but there is a cat in the image anyway. So it depends on the checkpoint and the LoRa's you use. You can actually get the cat to drive it. And that's it for this video. That's a high level overview of how to install and use Comfy UI.